Imeall an Ucht. Tugur filiachta is ceol le Theo Dorgan is Cullen McNimmer. Greengrafs is Shanna Steel analogach. Cursi ceol is le Triachta le Taig McConagain. Agus Kaintig is ceol le Roshino. Sappho's daughter and Tedalatar Hugra Ildonach a Hugla Chéile filiach Theo Dorgan agus ceol nu chumha Cullen McNimmer. Chur na hashtory Barry McGovern agus alwyn fuere láthir go paibli agus bhí Imeall a láthir le tileáil amach faoin dogra gaelach gréagachsan.
I moved to supply the words before or after, but a dull weight pressed on my chest and a vacuum came in my breathing. I could not shift or speak, and then he spoke, and this is what I heard.
Bhí is a chios san éideann drach the bblianta hin agus hí an sin ar mo hábhíonn so agus chulas an fearseo agus insin scéal am a chlós. So scríos sios fé mar a bhí seo insin aige. Deirte gur Homer príomh file na seanna réim sa Gréig ach ar ná bhí an dara file an Sappho. An banil is mó clú agus cáil ar dána stácha. Gus tá sé sa tradiisiún go raibh aníon ag cléis an tanna chéanna sa bhéag amáthair ach ní fistéine ceir a bhí an taithir. Agus seo mar gine bhí ag coganíile im chlós insin an dáin seo scéal conas mar a hála gur conas mar a hála go raibh páisteiche.
Come closer. Come close if you dare, and be good if you can. First and last man. Fire to my womb, crusher of breath. Come sing the one song of my house. Give me a daughter.
Dul sios mar labhraíonn dácha hain ach beidir 3 bliana 4 bliana dé go hin. Agus an sin bhí cnús gom gábhlíon ó hin agus bhí sé mar fart den cnús sin. Agus bhí síthe in ospedéal an cúm bhí fili ag Aberdánta agus bhí cholamach an amara ag sinnim. So díreach ar an buint, an éiri sé rial am go mbeadh sé simúil ceolach ar leis an dáin ach ag éisteach le chuil tháinig an smaoinemh díreach isteach meagna nar bhúnta an rudid a gur ag sesin ceol le Sappho's daughter.
Le blian an ús tá cinál damach smaoinú agam ná dárlóing ar fun ar le chaithing isteach I bhilteán Sappho's daughter agus an sin so bhí cinál caran beg ceol agam I cheap méid a dealach an takes. Agus is cinál rud rúndíbreach a bheith cuma ceol mar go mbíonn sé an sin nuaid amháin agus sin chéadú deile tagan tú ráise go tréis cup an takes bíonn sé éalaí. So ní mór cinál tagan tú chuig pointe ní mór just manína bheith agat go dúcha sé. Tuigeann tú go bhfuil réiteach an hena hain ar bhealach cluiseann tú dealbhadóirí a cancer go bhfeiceann siad cinál carraig agus feiceann siad an dealbháin agus níl sé ag dealbhadóir le duine sin ach chuilrud ach amháin an dealbh fáil ré leis. Bhfuil agat so ar bhealach tá próiseas céanna le ceol.
I had become a husbandman, my vines and green things more important to me than flash of bronze in battle or dice on deck. I felt no loss as they pulled away. I had done with the sea, that graveyard of wrecks. But Sappho, my lady, had not done with me.
Tá sná gcónaí idir agus a Gréig réid, but cultúr na hórpa tá sé bunathe ar an Gréig. As a Gréig a tháinig fiolsúnacht, filíocht, déan lathachas. Sin bun chloch ar gultúr. Agus tá sean sníomh idir an éire agus a Gréig an leis na chéanta. Agus sugur deisceartach mé freisin, agus tá muintear na deiscearta úmpathe ar an Spáin, ar an Bhrainc, ar an Bortagéil, ar an Gréig, ar an Idáil, seachas in Ruaig an túlan an Íoslinn agus le héit sin. Bhí mé a gcónaí a fécant ar an neisceart, so tá mé díirithe ar an neisceart, agus ó bhí is anóg, bhí is antócha leis na scéalta bheith bunathe sa bhanmhuair. Ná tá mé drúdam bhfuil mé teistil chuig an Gréig le 3 bliain nó beidir nó mar sin, So it's like mohíam mo chuomh na saoní, no? So is teachtáile. Nach éithing a bhíú go beacht ach mo híam go láidre.
Tá camera ar na hána go leorgan agus leis na meán ho síalta tá níos mó grianghraff á dógad is á scapagain ná riamh. Ach bhfuil rud ag an caiilte chomá leis an gcóras digiteach. Chuig an grianghraffadóir ife de burca le fistriúí anamh ar an seanna stíl analógach le fechant cecho de friúil tá dá stíl.
Bhí an tálam nuair bhí méid sa chlóiste fósí me ag obair a gúsáid scanán agus mar sin agus a go obair sa seomar dúrcha, so bhí antaithí agam an sin sa chlóiste. Agus an sin tháinig ahrú mór le tháinig an digiteach isteach, so thosaigh mé a gúsáid sin. Ach fós is brálam a gúsáid scanán, úsáid an camera, beag mar seo, spréig an iad an áíire ach just tá si difriúil chuint an scanán isteach agus fáin tú na greengraph arás an na lab agus just tá sé spéisiúil, domsa. Ach nuair tá mé ag obair go dráíire bhíonar am an camera mór digiteach úsáid agus Photoshop agus mar sin. Tá just ag fannachta éis go bhfuil bháim tá mé chuine thugant go dtí an stúdio analógach th timpeall an cúne má le clíonn seo agus tá chun greengraph a thugant leihí an sin. Bhí tionchar ómhór ag bháim ar héal greengraffadóir a gcóí bhí si ag aber le má tógan camera leat agus tá cead go é úsáid agus mar sin de. So tá ag súg mór inis le greengraph deas a thugantí an sin sa stúdio.
Okay, we'd like to take a seat. And then we'll set the lights. Okay, so I'm going to get you to look straight into the lens.
Alex, can you tell us a little bit about your studio and the camera itself?
Yeah, what I do here, it's wet plate photography, which is an 1851 technique. It's probably the second photographic technique ever invented. It consists in taking a photograph or on a piece of aluminium or a piece of glass using this pretty old Victorian camera, and then I got this, which is probably my main piece. It's this French lens, it's a brass lens from around 1880s. It's a direct positive image on glass, so it's a one-of-a-kind image. It's 1/1. I guess it's a bit like a painting. You're not quite sure why they're so beautiful, It's just a look that you can't get with digital, It's got very shallow depth of field. Certain features are enhanced, like blue eyes almost comes out white. Wrinkles and freckles get really enhanced, and I love that part. I love imperfections. I don't like a clean, perfect picture.
So you don't like airbrushing, or do people ever ask you to?
No, people do ask me. Unfortunately, I send them home.
So I'd say, a lot of teenagers or young people now, they've never used 35mm film. They've grown up in a digital world, but this is quite like what they're trying to recreate with Instagram or all these different apps, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely, to me, this is the real Instagram. I can use 3 different materials: acrylic, aluminium or glass.
So the glass is actually black, not clear?
Yeah, this is actually aluminium I'm using.
Aluminium, aluminium, okay.
And what I do, I pour some collodion, which is basically the film, onto the glass. So basically I'm flooding the glass, well, the aluminium in this case. So I'm gonna wait about 15 seconds until it just gets a little bit more sort of like gel-like. It's ready to go.
Okay.
After that, I put the glass into silver nitrate, which is basically liquid silver, and the collodion becomes light sensitive.
And then the light-sensitive glass slides in here, and
the light-sensitive glass slides absolutely goes in here. The film is is not very sensitive to light. It's quite slow. It's a long exposure. I mean, it's about 4-second exposure. So you need a lot of light, and you need a bit of luck, I guess, as well. The main issue it's motion blur. It's getting people to stay still for 4 seconds.
You look great, Mum. Yeah. Like some president's wife or something.
1, 2, 3, 4. That's it.
That's it. Wow.
You can come closer. This is the best part. That's your negative there. I'm going to pour some cyanide over. And the image is going to...
Wow.
Wow.
And how did you learn about these cameras in this process?
I'm a film and TV cameraman by trade, but I always had a passion for photography, and I was aware of the process. And after seeing a Sally Mann documentary, she does a lot of this wet play photography. She uses a lot of those alternative processes, you know. I just fell in love with the images and what she was doing, and I did a workshop in England. After that, I just decided to give it a go.
It's almost as if I'm alive, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it has such depth.
Yeah.
Look all the imperfections around, you know, there's a bit of fog around the edges, you know, it's just beautiful. When you're in the dark room, actually, I think my blood rate actually rises, you know.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, I can feel almost like an adrenaline rush
Yes.
of the excitement of not knowing exactly what you're gonna get, and I think that's the beauty of photography, you know. There's that element of surprise that now with digital seems to have completely gone.
Yeah, you'd
you know?
never have that with digital.
No,
would
it's
you?
you've got total control over an image, you know,
Yeah.
and this is not the case, so it's...
Yeah, beautiful portrait. Do you like it?
Here we go. That's yours.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Beautiful.
Ceoltóir, scríneoir agus fáilseoir is a taig mar chunagáin a bhí le feiceáil go minic ar chláir go telefíse. Bhug sé siar go chunamara blianta hin le dtíú ar chud cruthaíochta hain agus thugus cuairtear na hiig sa spidéal.
Beer cantalach bhí ninsin dán. Bhí se gcónaí idir sa bás. Stoppa í glóa aoní bhéise. Stoppa í prámsa le choníní. Bí í ciúna bhecho.
Tá ginisteach mé ar an éanach i Frankfurt, cad a Harlín.
Well, séir atá ná an beidir an teachla chéile is mó ar dain is síl na fáilsethireachta. So bíonn fáilsethirí an agus bíonn gníomhairí litere agus mar sin de ó chuala cheart gan dain agus tagann siad le chéile chearan na chuig lá in onad mór mílteach a Frankfurt. Agus bíonn seaán ag fáilsethirí agsúil agus bíonn daoine siúil thart. Breanúir leabhar agus ag gire margaí dhéanana le chéile gire cearta leabhar díal nó cheannach.
Agus chuna sa bhealinn fut a fatta fáilsethirí an dain leis na saothar sa díal go idirnáisiúnta.
Well, thosa me se amach a ceannach leabhar le bheith eistrí go gaeilge agus le bheith fáilsín se néireann. Agus chama cúpla blian a dhéana sin, agus is tóigh go dug sé sin cinál léargus chuma ar a gaí eibríonna nó fad. Agus ag pointe áirithe dúirt mé am hain go bhíú tríad amháinteas é dhéanamh an bailach le hímpel se sin na leabhar orbit an seanéireann agus iad a chur a láthir an Mhairgéid náisiúnta.
Ó go híntach agus go chálainn a bhéic in tron dam go cuasta, cún si a chuúla chas sé timppla clúda sé a chlúsa a bhfuil scríochaíil an i gú.
Tá leabhar an nach níoltha tíobh má guntíran bhfuil tú do chonaí. Agus tá an tábhacht leis na leabhar sin, aber ceanna na leabhar is mó bhfuil me héin brodú las a gogaí go gur gás bailach an ranta tradiisiúnta ó Chonamara an seo cé gur rathmór ar in éireann ní éireach leis go brach tí go éireann ach mar sin héin se an tábhacht a dhéanana. Ach na pictar leabhar seo tá si seo dírithe ó hús ar an Margaí Idirnáisiúnta. So tá si deartha tá na scéalta ránaí agus tá si forbartha le go naibbrúdis I ddíortha éagsúla.
Agus dréir mar eicem bhí rathirh le blianta nuas. Inis na méallar chudas na leabhar na heisteáin.
Well, an seo an chéad cheanna dhéalmuid go idirnáisiúnta, Lulu agus níthe glórach scríomh Bridget Ranach as Rusmach agus an alínig Steve Simpson agus cheanna cólacht de Méisinge agus eistí bheith go sínis agus fáilsí bheith sínis agus iní dhé sin fáilsí bheith in Alban. Gailge na Halaban. An cean seo, mis agus an dragún, tá sé sin fáilsí sa bhranc, Agus seo an chéad leabhar dar gcuid atá fáil síos an Afric heas, in Africánis, agus béidir go bé an chéad saothar gaeilge tá eistrí ó gaeilge go Africánis.
Sin an hásamh atá.
Tugann dar réide. Tugann. Tá sé an spreagol go deo na recas tú leabhar tíocht ar ais atá cráigeagan an seo meall an dónláin.
Nuair bhí taige díú ar ranta agus ar rán de fáistí bunscoile, bhí sé comhaidbrú ar an stáitse lena iníon bína chlárach róise. Tá rion láidir an chohaibrethe san le closa gánaí bíocha scoil róise leis sa bheanscoil.
Thosa sé ar bhealacha neamhharmáta sulla rugad tusa róise. Bhíoh mé gimas a gáir le Marcus agus Éva agus bhíoh mé ag casa órándóibh agus de réidir chéile dúirt mé am héin. Well, cinná sépar chuide go na rudaí seo, bheart am rud a cinnta dhéana leo agus an sin tháinig CD as sin.
Se. Gus ar chuútas an tharán go léir í aidnú tú fás níos?
Ja, is cílam gachúir bheith mat gal gotín scail bheith se casa go agus bheith mat cas cána leis.
Se.
So sin a chuí dólam chud go na órán a bíon mud cas le chéile hean.
Imeall atá na stón, casan na dáin mór, díomhre arach saoras mór. Tá cad é nó is mó tá fálamtha gutsa ó do fáistí.
Wow, sin ceist mhór. Is dólam go bé an rud is mó atá mé ag géirí dhéanana mar rinne atá ag géirí crothú do dhaoine óga ná tá mé géirí spirid na hóige a chuineáil. Agus is dólam ar bhealach gur bin an rud atá gceist le gach ealaíonn tar go pointe sé sin gur cinál sprí atá gceist nach gailann tú do hím sa sprí. Bíoh sé ina sprí le focaila nó ina sprí le hábhar dhéanam mar dhéanaan dealabhór agus maidir leis méid atá fólam tagam is tólam go bé tíirech a bheith cahabham leos do chuigus a bhí teachtar an tuiscintear nó rudaí tá táhachtach dóibh agus nó rudaí chuir an scanúirtha agus nó rudaí chuir an gáiríortha agus mar sin de.
Tá gur deir hir. Cad é rud is fearr agus an rud is deacra faois na páistí bheith dul níos?
An rud is fearr ná go bhfeicinn tú iad a gaiirí neamhsplách agus ag fecinn tú an fearsantacht agus na buanna a techt faoi bhlá agus fecinn tú iad ag aimsú a móthir héin sa síl. An rud is mó airíon muin ná nach bhfuil éine fácií sa teach le pictar leabhar léamh
Agus bhí neart ceol sa tignar bhí cailín ó geile fása níos an tarránaí Róisín ó. Iníon le Mary Blacka sehí ach tá lucht leúna do chutéin a dul méid a gcónaí. Bes sé casa a huilann sem lách lí himarach ach leir úna mealaí le faoin meach a daimseach sí a gothain.
A small spark can ignite the light and hold it in your heart.
Roisin, thanks a million for taking the time to have a chat with us.
Thanks for having me.
One of the things that I was interested in is, in terms of somebody who comes from a very musical family, what were your first musical memories, if you can think way back to when you were a small child?
Yeah, I suppose it's probably seeing my mum up on stage and seeing her perform. You know, I spent a lot of time backstage at her gigs and I suppose it was the norm for me to see her up on stage. So from a very young age, you know.
And did you know then, you know, quite early on that was something that you wanted to emulate, that you kind of saw that and wanted to be there, or were you kind of rebelling against it, as a lot of kind of people do against their parents?
No, I found that from a very young age I knew I wanted to be a singer, and it was something I was so passionate about, and I loved just singing for people and you know, seeing people's reaction when you sing was. I can't even really remember ever not wanting to sing, to be honest.
And can you recall the first time when you sat down and actually were writing your own stuff? And what form did that take? Was it a lyrical thing? Was it with an instrument? Was it just a melody?
Yeah, I remember being quite young and trying to write songs, but I didn't really pick up an instrument until I was about 16, or maybe a little bit earlier, but I found it quite hard when I was young. I didn't think my writing was good, and it's only really been in the last couple of years that I've really gotten into my writing and tried to move forward with it, because I have learned the guitar and the piano a bit more, so it's easier when you have an instrument in your hand, you know.
Yeah. And what changed that then, if you were kind of doubting yourself initially?
I suppose I knew I wanted to be a singer, and I felt that if I was going to be a singer, I had to write songs.
I don't know what to do when I got you on my mind. I can't wipe it clear and leave it all behind, 'cause I'm thinking of you and I don't know what to do. Don't you know I'm feeling blue? I don't know what to do when you don't get back to me, 'cause I can't reach your mind anyway. If I could.
And what kind of stuff are you drawing from when you sit down to write something musically or lyrically?
I suppose I can only draw from my own experiences in life. You know, I tend to write very personally. If you put a lot of emotion into your own songs from your own emotion in life, then they'll come across better to the people who hear it, you know.
So what's coming up for you now in the next short while?
Well, I just got back from a tour of America, which was absolutely amazing. I did about, I think it was 11 shows, and I started off in New York and went over to San Francisco and LA. So I'm home now, and I'm straight back into it. I'm going to have a headline gig in Whelan's in October, I think the 18th.
And what about in terms of touring? I mean, how have you found kind of taking those things which seem to be, you know, quite personal or experience-based or event-based, and then kind of bringing them to bunches of people around the place? I mean, have you had any particular amazing touring incident or horror story?
There are definitely a few horror stories, but I tend not to dwell on them. Those are usually the times where the sound wasn't good, or the crowd maybe weren't there to see you, which happens often, like especially for an act like me who's just starting out. But there are times as well, like when, you know, you're on stage and you're singing your own songs and the crowd are just reacting amazingly. It's like, it's the best feeling. It's why you do it. It's just such a good feeling when you get a crowd like that, you know. Really good.
And I mean, how hard is it, you know, to make a living as a musician? I mean, as we all know, it's extremely difficult to make money from selling records. You know, live industry is being squeezed. It's a hard slog, right?
It is really difficult. I wouldn't suggest it to anyone as a career if they're looking to get rich at all. You know, it's very temperamental whether or not you're going to make it or not. You could be the most amazing musician in the world and never be found, or never get your break. Or it could be the opposite. You could not be great, but you get this amazing break and everyone knows you and you have this great career. So you really have to go into it thinking, I'm not doing it for the money, you know, I'm not doing it for the fame. You have to go in it with a head that says, I'm doing it because I love music and I love to sing, and that's the way I think of it. You know, if I could live the rest of my life and be able to sing every other night and that be my living, whether it's to 50 people or 50,000, like, I'd be happy, you know, as long as I can get by.
It would be so very easy. It would be so very easy. It would be so very
Bígan ar daint an teachtain se chuin ar bheith tugamór drámíochta a chlúdach a gin The Big Green Apple, haar tréifhse seachtainna, agus béimiid an inis mór leis an alíonn tóirt Mosaic, Barbara Duran.